Ito. Ito ang ating pag-aaralan ngayon. Yung crimes against humanity na yan at yung kaso ni Digong Duterte. Ang dami kasing, tinignan ko muna yung mga bitaw ng mga nandito sa ICC Bulok at mga kabatas natin, sobrang bulok talaga. Tapos ito yung mga pinagyayabang nila na mas magaling kesa sa Supreme Court natin dito sa Pilipinas. My gosh, kadiri. Tignan nyo mga kabatas natin and let's do a live commentary, okay?
The prosecution charges Mr. Rodrigo Duterte with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of murder and attempted murder.
2 counts of murder, 1 count of murder, and attempted murder. So, 3 murder, 1 attempted murder.
As a crime against humanity committed between 20...
So, 3 murder, 1 attempted murder. Ang tanong nila, mga kabatas natin sa akin, syempre sagutin natin agad. Crime against humanity ba agad yan? Yung sinasabi nila yan, 3 murder lang. 3 murder lang, tapos 1 attempted murder, crime against humanity na agad. Nandito sa Article 7 ng Rome Statute yan, yung kanilang bulok na batas. Ayon kay Attorney Fiscal EJ, ang warrant of arrest daw ay international law. Tignan nyo mga kabatas natin, for the purpose of this statute, crime against humanity means any of the following acts when committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack directed against any civilian population with knowledge of the attack. Pag titignan nyo mga kabatas natin, murder yung nandirito. Walang attempted murder. Baka meron dito sa baba. For the purpose of paragraph 1, enslavement, deportation, torture, apartheid. Wala naman nakalagay na attempted murder. Di ba sinabi niya attempted murder?
and attempted murder.
Wala naman nakalagay na attempted murder dito. Murder lang ang nakalagay. Well, hindi ako expert dito, so correct me if I'm wrong kasi tinitignan ko yung statute nila na Bulok. Wala naman nakalagay na attempted murder dito. Murder lang. Dapat nakalagay sana dito, meron sana nakalagay dito, and older stages. And all the stages, wala naman. Para pwede attempted tsaka frustrated. Bakit pumasok yung murder na yan? Ay, attempted murder na yan. Syempre, imbentohin na naman nila base doon sa base doon sa nakaraan na nangyari, base doon sa history na ginagawa ng ICC Bulok, pati attempted na status ng isang krimen kasali. Pero nakalagay naman dito, murder lang. Ngayon, mga kabatas natin, tanong din nila, paano naging crime against humanity yun? Kung 3 murder lang. Kasi murder lang yung nakalagay dito Di syempre, susundin natin ito. 3 murder lang. Kasi ito, mga kabatas natin, yung importante dito. Ito yung mga elemento niya. Committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack directed against any civilian population. So, ang ginawa niya dito, mga kabats natin, itong mga prosecutor dito, kaya pumasok yan na crimes against humanity kasi hindi naman nakalagay na murders Walang sinabi o walang linagay na particular number of people that were killed. Yan din nga yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kung bakit ICC Bulok. Okay? Hindi katulad dito sa batas natin, kapag syndicated staff alam mo na kung paano nagiging syndicated yon. Kasi nga, may numero na binibigay. 5 to 10, 5 to 12. Ganyan yung number na naloko. Ngayon, kapag committed by abandon, alam din natin agad kung ilang numero. Ito mga kabatas natin, they don't care. They don't care. Wala, mga kabatas natin. Ganyan kabulok itong ICC na ito. Puro imbento. Pwedeng mag-imbento. Kasi nga, hindi malinaw yung batas nila. Hindi katulad ng batas natin dito sa Pilipinas, malinaw na malinaw. Okay? So ito, ang ipoprove nila na pinaka-importante dyan, it was committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack directed against any civilian population. So sasabihin nila dito, yung war against drugs na ginawa ni Duterte kung saan yung particular civilian population na kanilang tutukuyin ay yung mga drug addict o kaya drug pushers. Okay? So dahil against drugs yun. Kasi hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin, hindi nila pwedeng sabihin dito mga kabatas natin na it was directed against the Filipino people. Dito sila magkakaroon ng problema. Okay? They have to admit first that there is a particular classification. Okay? Or a group of civilian population. So ngayon, they have to admit na ang mga pinatay di umano nitong si Digong ay mga adik at mga drug pusher. Para masabi mo na yun yung civilian population na tinatarget niya. Kasi hindi niya naman pwedeng i-target yung Filipino as a whole. Mawawalan na ng saysay yung kanilang kaso. Hindi rin naman nila pwedeng sabihin na yung mga tinatarget niya doon ay kanyang mga political rivals. Di ba? Hindi naman pwede. So ito, widespread or systematic attack. Yan yung gusto nyo. Ito. Attack, tignan nyo. Directed against any civilian population means a course of conduct involving multiple commission of acts referred to in paragraph 1 against any civilian population pursuant to or in furtherance of a state or organizational policy to commit such attack. Yan. So they have to admit, kasi ito, state or organizational policy to commit such attack. Eh ang pinapalabas naman nila dito, mga kabatas natin, of course, inosente yung mga namatay daw. Pag sinasabi mo na inosente yung mga taong namatay, ibig sabihin hindi sila drug addict o kaya hindi sila pusher, then they are not part of the civilian population that were being targeted. Gets nyo? Yun ang malaking flaw dito. Doon sa kanilang argumento. They have to admit na yung mga biktima dito ay parte nung inaatake ni Duterte na mga adik o kaya mga pusher. Kapag hindi sila adik at hindi sila pusher, ibig sabihin, hindi yun parte ng state or organizational policy. Ibig sabihin, it is something that is separate and distinct from the crimes against humanity. Kuha nyo? Kuha nyo? Press 1 kung nakuha nyo. Kasi nga, they have to admit here dahil it is a war on drugs or war against drugs. Yung mga gumagamit ng droga at saka mga nagtutulak ng droga. Ang polisiya ng gobyerno, state or organizational policy, yun, they have to admit na lahat ng mga namatay dyan, adik o kaya pusher. Yan, thank you, maliwanag. Hindi ko na uulitin, ha? Okay? Okay? So, mawawalang saysay yung depensa ng karamihan na inosente yung mga namatay. Kasi kung inosente yung mga namatay, hindi sila parte ng state or organizational policy para i-exterminate sila. It is not a crime against humanity. Yung mga namatay based on the war on drugs, yun yung pwede. Di ba? Inatake kami. Ganito yung ginawa sa amin, well, dapat adik ka o kaya pusher ka. Kapag hindi ka kasali doon, simpleng murder lang yon. Hindi siya under the jurisdiction of the ICC Bulok. So if you will say that these people are innocent, napagkamalan lang, napagbintangan lang, yun yung sinasabi nyo, well, ibig sabihin, hindi sila parte dito. Hindi siya parte doon sa polisiya, kundi separate na krimen. Okay? Tignan natin. Dalawang sets kasi mga kabatas natin eh. Dalawang murder, isang murder at attempted murder. Di ba? Ito pala, hindi ko na...
And between around July 2016 and September 2018 in the Republic of the Philippines as follows. Count 1. Murder of 19 victims alleged to be criminals, including 3 children. Murder of 19 victims alleged to be as follows. In September 2018 in the Republic of the Philippines as follows. Count 1. Murder of 19 victims alleged to be criminals, including 3 children.
19 victims ito. Tignan mo, murder.
Murder of 19 victims alleged to be
Iba pa
criminals,
to.
including 3 children, who were killed in or around Davao City in the Philippines between 2013 and around 2016 by members of the Davao Death Squad. While Mr. Duterte was the mayor of the Davao City pursuant to Article 71A of the Rome Statute. Count 2. Murder of 14 victims labeled as high-value targets
So
for their
ito,
alleged
19 plus 14. High value targets naman.
criminality,
Calculator nga ako.
who were killed in locations across the Philippines between around July 2016 and July 2017 by a network of perpetrators comprising state actors and others, referred to as the National Network, while Mr. Duterte was the president of the Philippines pursuant to Article 71A of the Rome Statute.
So mas
And-
marami siya daw na dedo kaysa ano. Pero ito, hindi ko na maintindihan dito ngayon. Kasi nga, pag titignan nyo, state or organizational policy. Di ba? So ang gusto nilang sabihin, yung localized na war on drugs ni Digong, ginawa niyang national. Yung local policy, nag-national policy.
Count 3. Murder and attempted murder of 45 victims,
45.
comprising 43 murders, and 2 attempted murders of persons alleged to be criminals, comprising 43 murders, and 2 attempted murders of persons alleged to be criminals, comprising 43. Murder and attempted murder of 45 victims, comprising 43 murders, and 2 attempted murders of persons alleged to be
so
criminals,
-2.
including 3 children who were targeted in barangay clearance operations in locations across the Philippines between around July 2016 and September 2018 by members of the National Network. while Mr. Duterte was the President of the Philippines pursuant to Articles 71A and 25(3)(f in respect of the attempted murder of the Rome Statute. The prosecution alleges that Mr. Duterte is individually criminally responsible
76 na murder.
all three of the above counts as follows. First, as an indirect co-perpetrator pursuant to Article 25(3)(a) of the Rome Statute. At least between 1st November 2011 and 16 March 2019, Mr. Duterte and his co-perpetrators shared a common plan to neutralize alleged criminals in the Philippines, including individuals perceived or alleged to be associated with drug use, sale, or production, through violent crimes including murder. Mr. Duterte and his co-perpetrators implemented this common plan through the hierarchically organized structures of the Davao City Police, and Davao Death Squad, and then the national network. Within the framework of the common plan, Mr. Duterte made essential contributions to the crimes in counts 1 to 3 by A. Designing and disseminating the police to neutralize alleged criminals, both in his role as a mayor of the Davao City and also during his presidential campaign and as a president, including by endorsing the
So ano talaga, mga kabatas natin, natrap na sila doon. Pati dito, titignan nyo, ang tawag na doon sa mga taong namatay, alleged criminals.
during his presidential campaign, both in his role as a mayor of the Davao City and also during his presidential campaign and as a president, including by endorsing the anti-illegal drugs campaign Double Barrel. B. Establishing and overseeing the DDS. C. Instructing and authorizing violent acts, including murder, to be committed against alleged criminals, including alleged drug dealers and users.
Kailangan talaga, hindi talaga nila maaano doon, may ano doon, may tatago doon na itong mga ito, addict o kaya addict o kaya pusher, kaya sila nadamay.
D. Providing personnel and other necessary logistic resources such as weapons, including those to be used in the execution of the crimes. E. Appointing key personnel to positions which were crucial to the execution of the crimes.
Kasi isipin niyo mga kabatas natin, no? Kung kunwari, namatay ang mga yan, diba? Tapos, hindi naman talaga sila kasali doon sa grupo na yon. It's not a crime against humanity. Diba? Not a crime against humanity.
F. Offering financial incentives and promotions to police officers and hitmen to kill alleged criminals. G. Creating and maintaining a system in which perpetrators knew they would be protected.
Dapat alleged criminals na talaga itong mga ito.
Including through promises of immunity and shielding perpetrators from investigation and prosecutions. H. Making public statements authorizing, condoning, and encouraging killings of alleged criminals, both as a mayor of the Davao City and as a president of the Philippines. I. Authorizing state actors to take part in the anti-drugs campaign and temporarily revoking
Pero
such
pag titignan nyo mga kabatas natin, parang in-associate na lang lahat sa kanya kasi presidente siya. Di ba? Sabi ni Adorable Kayo, kailangan nila ng proof na addict at criminals yung mga namatay kasi kung hindi, edi isolated cases, correct. Tapos, kunwari na lang nila na parte doon sa war on drugs. Diba? Kasi syempre, yun ang takas nila dito eh. Ang takas nung prosecution dito, sasabihin nila, kasali ang mga yan. Yan yung mga ini-exterminate nila na class of people. Yung civilian population, yan yung klase ng civilian population na pinapatay nila para pumasok na crime against humanity. Kasi kunwari mga kabatas natin, no, balikan natin yung nakaraan, nung tinutugis yung mga black. Okay? Pag tinutugis yung mga black, yun yung grupong yun ang tinutugis mo. Ngayon, kapag may namatay na puti, yung pagkamatay ng puti, hindi kasali dun sa crimes against humanity yun. Kasi nga, yung crimes against humanity, ang pinupunteriya doon ay yung mga itim lang. Kung may nadaling puti, separate yung puti. Isolated case yun. Hindi yun kasali sa state policy. Kasi ang state policy, patayin mo lang yung mga itim. Kapag pumatay ka ng puti, hindi yun state policy, hindi siya crime against humanity. Tama?
Authorization, including to placate public outcry. J. Public.
Sabi na, Dorobal, kaya gusto ko malaman technical fiscal EJ dyan, patabingian. Sabi niya nga, nakita ko kanina, kuha daw ako ng kaso doon sa kanya, sa kung saan daw siya naka-assign bilang prosecutor, para daw makita kaming dalawa na parang magdiskurso doon sa korte. As if naman may papakita natin yung gilas natin doon. Kapag ganun yung mangyayari. Tapos anong akala mo sa akin? Nakita mo naman na yung mga nakalabang ko, malalaking law firm, 100 lawyers, tapos ikaw, ewan ko, fiscal EJ. Kailangan talaga ilusot niya yung sarili niya lagi para makaiwas sa debate at saka makalimutan ng mga tao yung mga kalokohan na pinagsasabi niya sa social media. Debunk na debunk kasi. Ba't hindi mo i-debunk yung pag-debunk ko sa'yo? Kasi sunog ka, no? Oh.
Publicly naming individuals and holding up charts from lists of alleged criminals, including so-called high-value targets, some of whom were subsequently killed. Second, in the alternative, Mr. Duterte is charged with ordering and/or inducing the charged crimes pursuant to Article 25.
Kasi ang problema dyan, no, kahit nag-order ka, o sige, admit na natin na nag-order si Duterte ng ganyan. Nag-order siya ng ganyan. Ang patayin nyo, mga adik at saka mga pusher. O ngayon, yung inorderan niya, ang pinatay, hindi adik at saka hindi pusher. O di hindi niya order yun. Simple lang, di ba? Kapag may lumapit sa akin, ang in-order ko, tapos lumapit yung waiter, ang in-order ko, chicharon bulaklak, tapos dumating siya, ang binigay niya sa akin, sisig, hindi ko order yon. Ganun lang kasimple. Di ba? Ganun lang kasimple yon. Parang si Duterte rin. O sabi niya, kay Bato, patayin niyo lahat ng adik. Patayin niyo lahat ng mga pusher. O tapos, itong si Bato, Bibo. Nagsipatayan siya ng nagsipatayan doon. May mga napatay na hindi adik at saka hindi drug dealer. Hindi dealer. Hindi pusher.
Ha?
O di yung mga yun, hindi order ni Duterte yun. Diba? Hindi order ni Duterte yung mga yun. So kailangan nyo talagang i-admit na adik o kaya pusher yan yun. Yun yung mga kamag-anak para pumasok tong kaso na ito. Para pumasok na yun ang order ni Duterte. Otherwise, kasalanan lang ng pulis na pumatay. Hindi na kasalanan ni Duterte kung inosente yung pinatay niya, katulad ng sinasabi nyo na inosente, kasi nga, hindi na bilang ng war on drugs yun. Hindi na order ni Duterte yun. Ang order ko sa'yo, adik at saka pusher lang. Di ba? Simpleng-simple.
B of the Rome Statute, and/or aiding and abetting these crimes pursuant to Article 25(3)(c) of the Rome Statute.
Merci, Madame la Greffière.
Thank you,
Ginagawa
Madam
rin.
Speaker. With regard to objections and observations under Rule 122, paragraph 3 of the Rules of Procedure and Evidence, the Chamber notes that the defense submitted a number of written observations, and the last of which was on the 16th of February.
Sabi ni Inzumig, di pusher na din si Ken. Kailangan pusher o kaya adik si Kian. Kapag hindi siya pusher o hindi siya adik, ibig sabihin, hindi utos ni Duterte yun. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya dapat mapanagot dahil doon. At hindi yun kasali sa crime against humanity.
February 2026.
Gusto
to
ko
which
ito
the
itong si
and the legal
yung
representatives of
prosecutor.
victims responded, respectively, on the 17th.
Honorable member of the bench, all those following these proceedings inside the courtroom and outside, and especially those in the Philippines. Today marks an important
Sabi ni Mr. Tekitut, yung mga kaanak na nasa Hague, admit nila na gumagamit talaga kaanak. Kailangan nilang gawin yun. Kailangan nilang gawin yan. Kailangan na lang i-admit na addict yung mga yon. Di ba? Ngayon, syempre, kapag in-admit mo na addict yung mga yon, tapos meron silang possession, in their possession, droga, hindi na malayong mangyari. Hindi naman pwedeng, sabihin mo na, addict yung ko, pero wala siyang droga in his possession. It's very unlikely na, kasi nga, addict nga yan eh. Di ba?
day for international justice for the people of the Philippines.
Isipin mo nun, yun yung kadiri dito. Yung mga ibang tao na ganyan, ang nagbibigay ng hustisya para sa mga Pilipino, ay para sa mga addict pala. So, ibig sabihin, mga batas natin, itong ICC hearing na ito ay hearing para sa mga addict at pusher. Ang saya, no?
For the victims and for this court, the commencement of the confirmation hearing against Mr. Rodrigo Duterte is a reminder of the court's unwavering commitment to its mission to investigate and prosecute individuals for the most serious crimes of concern to the international community
Ang dami na
and to bring justice to the thousands of victims of the and to bring justice to the thousands of victims of the mass crimes and atrocities perpetrated in the Philippines.
Thousands of victims! Wala pa 100 yun! 78 lang! Ang mga batas natin, palike naman ha. Parang awan nyo na. Parang awan nyo na palike, please. Para mabalance. Saan niya kinuha yung thousands of victims? Ewan ko sa mga to.
It is also a reminder that those in power are not above the law. Your Honors, over the course of the next 20 minutes or so, I will provide an overview of the evidence in this case that demonstrates that Mr. Duterte is responsible for the charged crimes. And my team will then develop aspects of this evidence in more details.
Evidence lang.
In this case, before you today, it is before you today because there are substantial ground to believe that Mr. Duterte is criminally responsible for those 3 counts of murder just spelled out and
Yung
attempted
3
murder.
counts na yun, 78 lang yun Bakit thousands?
As crimes against humanity. These charged crimes were committed during the time within the court jurisdiction, which is between the 1st of November 2011 and the 16th of March 2019. At first, they were committed in and around
Sabi kayo, MTC, RTC, tapos ang ICC Addict Court. Yun nga eh. Korte ng mga protector ng addict tsaka pusher, no?
Davao City, where Mr. Duterte was a mayor,
Davao, chiti talaga sa Davao, no?
and then expanded across the rest
Pero
of
ang
the Philippines.
daya kasi dito eh. Alam nyo, hindi sila nagbabase talaga doon sa ebidensya nila. Kasi pati dito sa sinasabi nila dito, thousands of victims. Eh, ang nandiyadyaan lang, wala pa 100, 78 lang yung biktima. Bakit naging thousands of victims na? My gosh. Kahit i-times 5 natin yung 78. Oh, ilan na magiging nun? Wala pang 1,000. Kasi ita-times 5 natin. Kunwari, meron silang kamag-anak. Oh. Pero hindi naman victim. Ewan ko sa inyo.
When he became president. Mr. Duterte is charged with 49 incidents of murder and attempted murder of 78 victims, including children.
Oh, 78 victims. Bakit thousands?
These murder and attempted murders were part of a widespread and systematic attack that overall resulted in the killings of thousands of civilians across the country during the relevant time frame. Thus, the charged incidents are merely a fraction of the overall criminality that resulted from Mr. Duterte's so-called war on drugs.
Oh, di ba? War on drugs. So, dapat addict yan. Tsaka pusher. Pag hindi addict o pusher yung kamag-anak na namatay, hindi siya kasali sa crimes against humanity.
What is Mr. Duterte's core contribution? Your Honors,
Sabi niya, including children. Baka addict din yung children. Baka addict din yung children. Kasi, hindi talaga pwede na mag-uutos ka na patayin mo yung mga addict at saka mga pusher, tapos ang pinatay, hindi addict, hindi pusher, hindi mo utos na yon. Di ba? Hindi mo na utos yun.
Mr. Duterte played a pivotal role in the commission of the charged crimes.
Why?
His contribution was essential,
Why?
as he was at the very heart of the common plan to use his words, to neutralize alleged criminals in the Philippines, including through murders. The victim included individual associated with or perceived to be associated with drugs. One of the first things Mr. Duterte did when he became the mayor of Davao, back in
Dapat associated ka sa drugs. Di ba? Dapat, hindi pwedeng inosente yung namatay. Kung inosente yung namatay, syempre sasabihin nila, attorney, syempre, inosente lahat yung mga yan until proven guilty. O di ibig sabihin, wala talagang crimes against humanity na nagawa si Duterte. Kasi inosente yung mga yan eh. Kailangan nyo talagang i-admit na durugista yung mga yan o kaya pusher. Otherwise, hindi sila kasali sa war on drugs. Otherwise, wala tayong kaso na pag-uusapan na crime against humanity.
1988 was to create the infamous Davao Death Squad, otherwise known as DDS.
DDS.
As you will have seen from the prosecution pre-confirmation brief, Mr. Duterte personally instructed death squad members that their mission was to kill criminals and suspected criminals, including drug users and dealers. Also,
Bakit pati ba suspected criminal sinabi niya na patayin na? Grabe no. Alam niyo, ninulusot lang talaga nila dito. Criminals, kapati suspected criminals na. Sino magsususpect siyang kriminal para pwedeng patayin? Napakalaki namang discretion yun sa isang tao. Pag suspect siya mong kriminal, patayin mo na. Grabe.
referred to as drug pushers. The death squad carried out this mission well into the charge period through 2011 to 2016, perpetrating the crimes charged in count 1. Your Honors, Mr. Duterte's criminal plan and his intent were no secret. He not only shared them with his co-perpetrators and members of the death squad, but also made them abundantly clear to the general public in the numerous public statements that he made time and again. During his presidential campaign, Mr. Duterte explicitly vowed to implement the common plan to neutralize alleged criminal nationwide if elected. This was his program to be elected.
Bakit hindi nyo ikot? Sinabi niya ba ni Duterte doon na neutralize alleged criminals? Di ba? Kasi kung ang sinabi niya, i-neutralize nyo yung mga kriminal, pwede. Kailangan kriminal ka muna bago ka patayin, tapos kasali ka na dun sa war on drugs. Pero pag alleged, iba kasi ang alleged criminal at saka iba ang kriminal. Kapag sinabi niya, i-exterminate yung mga pusher at saka mga addict, dapat pusher at saka addict yung mga exterminate. Kung hindi pusher at saka addict yun, ibig sabihin, hindi yun kasali dun sa war on drugs. Ibig sabihin, walang crimes against humanity. Di ba? Kasi hindi naman sinabing alleged criminals kasi imposible naman. Ikaw naman, hindi ko naman narinig si Duterte na nagsabing alleged criminals yung papatayin. Criminals yung papatayin, sabi niya. My gosh, hindi kasi nila kinukot directly eh.
He publicly announced his intention to eradicate corruption, criminality, and drugs in 3 to 6 months. And this is what he said.
Ano masama doon?
I quote, "If I become the president, I will order the military and the police to hunt down the drug lords."
Oh, wala naman nakalagay na alleged drug lords doon.
The big ones, and kill them. That's what he said.
Oh, bakit kayo alleged na criminals? Hindi niya sinabi na kill the alleged criminals. Ang sinabi niya, lokohan na to. Lokohan na to. Sinabi niya drug lords. Hindi niya sinabing alleged drug lords. Magkaiba yun.
And this can be found at tab 12 of the prosecution list of material. Similarly, when speaking about druggies, in a televised interview in 2015,
mga druggies daw, mga kabats natin. Mga kabats natin, palike ha, parang awan nyo na. Parang awan nyo na.
this is again what he said. "If I become president, you will all get wiped out.
Oh.
I will order your execution within 24 hours. That's what he said. That I quote directly from his word.
O para pumasok yan, dapat nung pumasok siyang presidente, yung first day niya, kasi within 24 hours, di ba? So June 30, within 24 hours, after niya umupo bilang presidente, para magamit mo yan, meron dapat namatay within 24 hours. Tama? Di ba? Para magamit mo yan laban sa kanya, yung mga namatay, dapat namatay within 24 hours. Otherwise, hindi mo magagamit yan. Meron ba silang allegation o claim na may pinatay siya within 24 hours para magamit nila yung sinabi niya na yon? Ewan ko.
And this code can be found at tab 19.2 of the prosecution list of materials, ERN PHL dash OTP dash 401684, page 003, and these are the lines 82 and 83. And elected he was.
Oh, okay.
Becoming president,
O kahit na-elect siya. O sige, na-elect siya. Sino yung pinatay niya within 24 hours? Wala. Hindi mo magamit yan. Black propaganda, di ba, Kenneth? Putik yan.
on 13th of June,
Alam niyo, gusto ko rin tumatabi-tabi sa mga ganyan kasi nagiging maputi ako eh. Pag tumatabi ako sa kanila, wow, I'm light-skinned.
2016, this
Kailan?
June, 2016, president, on 13th of June,
Oh.
2016,
Oh, 30 June 2016. So dapat hanggang 31 yung mga napatay niya.
this provided him with the opportunity to follow through with his promise.
Oh, yung promise niya within 24 hours. Nasaan yung pinatay niya within 24 hours? My goodness.
And to expand extrajudicial killings of alleged criminals beyond Davao and across the
Wala, hindi nagtatahi-tahi yung mga sinasabi niyo.
rest of the Philippines. He did this through the implementation of the National Anti-Illegal Drug Campaign, better known as Duterte's War on Drug, and its project, Double Barrel,
So lahat nung sinabi niya before campaign, hindi niyo magagamit kasi hindi naman yun yung nangyari.
these were carried out by the national network consisting of law enforcement personnel working together with non-police assets.
Alam niyo, ang dali na lang dito, no? Kailangan niyo munang patunayan, yung mga victims ha, kailangan niyo munang patunayan na addict yan o kaya drug lord yan, o kaya drug pusher yan, bago pumasok sa war against drugs and sa crime against humanity. Kasi kung hindi pumasok yan sa war on drugs, hindi yan addict, hindi yan pusher, hindi yan drug lord. Ibig sabihin, isolated case lang yan.
And hitmen. Mr. Duterte authorized murder and personally selected some of the targets.
Oh. Authorized murder. Pero dapat yun ang mga babanatan niya.
During the mayoral period, when he was mayor, his clearance was required for the DDS to carry out the killings. Essentially, members of the DDS needed Mr. Duterte's green light to murder. And during the presidential period, Mr.
Claim na lang eh, no?
Duterte has continued to personally identify some of the targets, including by publicly naming those he claimed were involved in illegal drug trade or in other forms of criminality. He also identified targets.
Hindi naman krimen yung pag-identify niya nung mga yun nakasali dyan eh. So bakit niyo pa sasabihin yun? Irrelevant yun. Ibang kaso yun. Yung nagkaroon siya ng drug list.
Holding up a list containing their name.
Zene.
And if you are on the list, you will be killed. And this was a word of one prosecution witness.
Word yun ng prosecution witness. Ngayon, ipakita nyo nga na yung mga nakalista doon namatay o pinatay.
And this evidence can be found at tab 54 of the prosecution list of materials. ERN PHL OTP 00015 486, page 0009, and the relevant lines are 260 to 261. Mr. Duterte provided moral and financial support to the direct perpetrators as well.
Paano? Siyempre, pakita niyo yung ipakita niyo yung words of encouragement niya at saka yung pera na binigay niya. Bank transfer sana, GCash.
In a 12 December 2016 speech, Mr. Duterte admitted that he used to ride around Davao on a motorcycle looking for trouble, so he could kill. And he said, and this again his own word I'm quoting here, in Davao, I used to do it personally, just to show the guy that if I can do it, why can't you? And these are his own words.
Yung ba yung moral support niya doon? Ayun yung moral support. Kung kaya ko, kaya mo rin yan. Yun yung moral support. Yun yung moral support pala doon. Diba? Ganun naman yung moral support eh. Kung kaya ko, kaya mo rin.
And this quote can be found at tab
Isipin mo
16.1.
ganyan yung mga ebidensya nila, no? Puro sinabi ni ganito, sinabi ni ganyan.
Of the prosecution list of material, ERN PSL-OTP-000155547 at 0002 lines 7 and 8. And the evidence show that Mr. Duterte's Davao City Mayor office provided some member of the DDS with a regular salary. Financial rewards were
Regular salary? Eh, syempre, pulis yan eh. May regular salary talaga yan.
also given to direct perpetrators in the form of cash per head for killing. And at a press conference in 2013, Mr. Duterte stated that shoot to kill orders and reward are, and I quote him, are legitimate tools of government to fight lawlessness. This is his own word.
Oh, ano masama doon? Fight lawlessness.
And if he surrender to me or his carcass dead, then I double the price. And again, yeah, and that was what he boasted. This quote can be
Alam nyo, tinatanggal-tanggal na lang nila, no? Nitpicking na lang.
found at tab 17.2 of the prosecution list of materials, PSL-OTP-000094932 at 0002, and the relevant lines are line 7 to 11. Deaths of drug personalities killed in anti-drug operation were endorsed by Mr. Duterte's administration and listed as official accomplishment in public reporting. Your Honors, as you will have...
Walang specific na allegations para sabihin, kumbaga yung mga elemento, hindi nila talaga ini-specify doon sa mga krimen na chinarge sa kanya yung mga murder na chinarge sa kanya Napaka-generic ng crimes
Confirmation brief, Mr. Duterte also provided the direct perpetrators with weapons, ammunition, and logistical support to facilitate the commission of the charge.
Meron na sila niyan kasi pulis nga yung mga yan, may baril na yung mga yan.
Crime. And he also had wide control over those crimes. And let me now turn specifically to that control. As mayor of Davao and later as president of the Philippines, Mr. Duterte wielded ultimate influence and authority over the physical perpetrators of the crimes. As mayor, Mr. Duterte was chief executive of the Davao city government, with responsibility for exercising general supervision and control over all its activities. He had formal operational supervision and control of a national police unit in Davao. As creator and head of the DDS, he also had de facto control over the death squad's members. When Mr. Duterte became president on the 30th of June 2016, he sat at the very apex of the political power structure in the Philippines. He became the head of state, head of government, and commander-in-chief of all armed forces of the Philippines. He also became the leader of the country's police forces. This level of authority allowed him to wield de jure and de facto control over those implementing the common plan nationwide. Mr. Duterte's control over the crime is also apparent from his ability to interrupt their commission when he so chooses.
Ha? Paano? So, presidente siya. Pwede niyang interrupt kung gusto niya. So, kunwari, pagbabarilin na, wag! Sikihan! Wag sikihan! Oh my goodness. Paano?
To interrupt their commission when he so chooses.
Paano yun? So, God siya doon. Naka-God mode siya. Nakatayo siyang ganyan. Tapos nakikita niya lahat ng mga patayan. Tapos, itigil mo yan. Itigil mo yan. Kasi na-commission eh. Di ba?
And as outlined in our reconfirmation brief, he successfully suspended police anti-illegal drug operation on at 2 occasions following public outcries in response to particularly notorious killings. On both occasions, the number of reported killings dropped significantly during the suspension, showcasing his control. So when he asks people to act, they act. When he asks them to refrain, they do so. So,
So, ito kasi, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na nung pinatigil niya yan, tumigil yung mga nangyayaring patayan. Kasi nga, kasi sabi niya nabawasan daw eh. So dapat magpakita ka ng ebidensya noong mga panahon na pinatigil niya yan, nakasali dyan sa kaso nyo. Patayan na nangyari pa rin, although bumaba, nung panahon na pinatigil niya yon. Tignan nyo.
when he asks people to act, they act. When he asks them to refrain, they do so. So they comply. So Mr. Duterte action, showcasing dropped significantly during the suspension, also to particularly notorious killings. On both occasions, the number of reported killings dropped significantly.
At saka mas may malala pa dito. Bakit nag-drop lang at hindi naging zero? Yun na mas malala dyan. Kasi nga, kung sinasabi nyo na siya yung may control, nung sinabi niya na huwag kayong pumatay, dapat wala nang pumatay. O bakit nag-drop lang? Ibig sabihin, wala siyang control dun sa mga pumapatay. Kasi sabi niya, huwag kayong pumatay, pero may pumatay pa rin. Diba? Butas yung argumento nyo dito. Butas yung argumento nyo dito. Sasabihin nila, kung may control siya, bakit nung sinabi niyang stop the killings, nag-drop lang at hindi naman na-stop talaga yung killings?
Suspension, showcasing his control. So when he asks people to act, they act. When he asks them to refrain, they do so.
No, but they did not. Kasi bumaba lang yung namatay at hindi na zero.
They comply. So Mr. Duterte was
Ako babasahin niya mali-mali.
the authority he had over the perpetrators. In a speech given to the National Bureau of Investigation in November 2016, he expressly acknowledged his position of power. And this is what he said. To the military I am Commander-in-Chief. On the civilian side, I am the Chief Executive of the government. And when talking about the police, this is what he's saying. They are my subordinate, and I am ultimately responsible for their deeds. And these are quotations, and they can be found at tab 131.2 of our prosecution list of materials at ERN BHL-OTP-00095
Mas hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na porke yung tao, inako niya, lahat, paniniwalaan mo na. Kasi hindi hustisya yun. Paano kung fall guy yan? Kung ganyan ang hustisya, kasi ICC Bulok ito, kung ganito yung hustisya, ang gagawin na lang ng mga mayayaman, papatay na lang sila ng papatay ng tao, tapos magpapaako at magpapaako na lang sila ng mga pumatay. Eh hindi sila makukulong kasi nga merong umaako lagi nung kanilang pinapatay.
Page 0004, and the relevant lines are from 131 to 134. And the direct perpetrators complied with Duterte's order and respected his authority. Mr. Duterte was respected by the physical perpetrators. He was feared, and his order and instruction were obeyed.
Iba ang respected sa feared, ha? Marunong ba mag-English itong mga to? O translate lang yan?
Inside the witness explicitly says that the police killed, and I quote, because of the directive of the president. This is what the witness said, and inside. And this court
Sabi nila ba, after niya sabihin stop, may ginawa po ba si Diggs effective steps to prevent or punish them once aware? Anong once aware? Baka failure ni Diggs to exercise effective control po. Wala nga siyang control. Yun nga yung magandang argumento dyan. Ba't mo aaminin na may control ka? Diba? So yun ang yun ang argumento ng kabila. Wala akong control dyan. Sila sasabihin na control mo yan. Pero sila, they are arguing against their own argument. Sinabi niya na stop. Pero, hindi naman sila nag-stop. Nasaan ang control doon?
can be found at tab 120 of the prosecution list of material, ERN PSL OTP -00088-631-R01 and page 66, and the relevant line are...
Sabi nila po, attorney, pwede ba natin i-chat GPT ang statement nila? First statement yun na crimes against humanity pag hindi drug lord ang pinatay. Ano? Pag hindi drug lord ang pinatay? Mali yung pagkakaintindi mo. Siguro mag-chat GPT ka nga, labo. I-chat GPT mo, kunin mo yung mga sinasabi ko kasi malabo ka eh. Malabo yung sinasabi mo. I-chat GPT mo lahat ng sinasabi ko. Verbatim ha. Kasi mali yung sinasabi mo.
From 2,304 to 2,306. And this statement is corroborated by other statement we are also provided. And some direct perpetrator complied because of their blind loyalty to Mr. Duterte. Some did it out of fear, and others were encouraged to comply.
So lahat na ng klase meron.
Promises of money and rewards. For some, killing reaches the level of a perverse form of competition, with effort to attain killing quotas, which in turn would lead to promotions and rewards. Others felt there was no other choice but to comply, with one insider explaining that it was simply no other choice but to comply, with one insider explaining that felt lead to promotions and rewards. Others felt there was no other choice but to comply, with one insider explaining that it was simply not possible to not obey Mr. Duterte's command.
Okay.
And this is also from an insider witness.
Bakit imposibleng hindi sundin? Hindi mo pwedeng i-claim mo lang yan.
This evidence can be found at tab 51 of the prosecution list of materials, ERN PSL-OTP-0015403 at page 0008 to 0009, and the relevant line here is from 240 to 245. Direct perpetrators were further emboldened to commit crime by Mr. Duterte's repeated promises of immunity. In various public statements, Mr. Duterte vowed to protect the police involved in killing. And this is what he said again. For as long as there is a power to pardon in the Constitution, that's my weapon against crime. If you massacre 100, and there are 100 of you, then you will all be pardoned.
Hindi nila linalagay context no? Hindi nila linalagay yung konteksto.
Restore to full political and civil rights, plus a promotion to boot. It's like that, especially the high profile. And this code can be found at tab 130.2 of the prosecution list of materials at ERN PSL-OTP and 50336 at page 0010. Such statements reassure the physical perpetrators. One insider described that he felt confident to continue killing people because he knew that he wouldn't be arrested for that. And this evidence can be found at tab 38 of the prosecution list of material, ERN PSL-OTP-0001-2779 at page 0005, and relevant lines are from 130 to 131. Your Honors, let me now say a few words about the contextual elements. The 78 murders and attempted murders that Mr. Duterte is charged with.
78 lang, nasaan yung thousands? Hindi nga pwedeng magsabi ng thousands dyan kasi hindi naman kayo naka-witness din ng mga yun.
In this case, were not random. These were not random crimes. Nor was they spontaneous or happened in isolation.
O diba? Isolation na yan kapag hindi drug addict yung mga namatay o kaya hindi pusher.
Rather, the evidence demonstrate that they were part of a widespread and systematic attack directed against the civilians population of the Philippines. The murders and attempted murders were carried out across the Philippines and over a substantial period of time. Overall, Duterte's so-called war on drugs resulted in the killings of thousands of civilians from the 1st of November 2011 to the 16th of March 2019. And many of these victims were...
Excuse me, Colonel, you have 5 minutes left.
Okay. Yes, that was were children. The victim of extra...
Yung mga children, ano ba yung mga addict ba yung mga bata?
A judicial killing charge in this case were brutally murdered, some after having been abducted and mistreated. Unlike Mr. Duterte, who is represented by his counsel here today, they were deprived of any form of due process. The loss of every single one of these victims had the most profound impact on their families, their friends, and ultimately their communities. Their suffering was met not merely with Mr. Duterte's indifference, but with his mocking. In a 25 July 2016 speech, he expressly made fun of the iconic photograph portraying the partner of an extrajudicial killing victim cradling his body, which now visible on our screen. While the specific incident portrayed in this photograph is not charged in this case, Mr. Duterte's comment on it is demonstrative of his attitude towards the victims. In reference to this photo, Mr. Duterte, this is what he said. Those of you who are still sober those who haven't tried illegal drugs. If you don't want to die or get hurt, don't rely on the priest, including human rights advocate. They won't be able to prevent death. So, don't do it. And then, there you are, sprawled on the ground, and you are portrayed in a broadsheet like Mother Mary cradling the dead cadaver of Jesus Christ. That's how they are creating dramas here. This is what he said. And this quote can be found at tab 128 of the prosecution list of material at ERN-PSL-OTP-50335, page 0008. And of course, the question of whether Mr. Duterte had knowledge and intent, of course, it goes without saying. Your Honors,
Bilhan mo na.
Mr. Duterte intended and knew that the charged crime were occurring, or that they would occur in the ordinary course of event that he had set in place and put in motion. His intent and knowledge are shown by the multiple statements he made throughout his mayoral and presidential tenure, promising to reduce crimes by killing alleged criminals, promoting the common plan, and urging police and even members of the public to kill alleged criminals. As detailed in the prosecution reconfirmation brief, and as your Honor will hear in the course of my team's presentation, Mr. Duterte also made statements directly acknowledging allegation of extrajudicial killings by his subordinates and issued written order showing he knew about the crimes they committed. Your Honors, the prosecution relies on significant and varied sources of evidence to demonstrate that substantial ground exists to believe that Mr. Duterte is criminally responsible for the crimes. This evidence includes multiple witness statements, including insider
Wala nang
witnesses.
context ang sasabihin.
It includes many speeches of Mr. Duterte himself.
At the outset, Your Honors,
Ito yung Pinoy.
authorized to participate in these proceedings. At the outset, Your Honors, we communicate the very deep disappointment of the victims at the decision allowing Rodrigo Duterte not to be present in this stage of confirmation of charges. The sight of Mr. Duterte being read and being confronted with the grave and horrible charges against him would have constituted a vital component of justice for the victims. This case symbolically represents
Sabi ko sa inyo, ICC Bulok eh. Naniniwala din sa akin itong prosecution na ICC Bulok. Injustice agad ang nangyari doon sa mga victims. I told you, ICC Bulok. Tignan nyo. Proof, mga kabatas natin na ICC Bulok.
of confirmation of charges. The Rodrigo Duterte, the very deep disappointment of the victims
Disappointed.
at the decision allowing Rodrigo Duterte not to be present in this stage of confirmation of charges. The sight of Mr. Duterte being read and being confronted with the grave and horrible charges against him would have constituted a vital component of justice for the victims.
Di ba? Parte ng justice yung para sa victims eh, pero hindi mo binigay ICC Bulok. Injustice agad para sa mga victims.
This case symbolically represents the last boat that the victims can board to go on a journey in search of justice for their loved ones who were brutally killed upon the orders of Mr. Duterte.
Injustice talaga.
If this chamber prevents the boat from sailing by not confirming the charges, the victims will forever be moored in an island where the nights are filled with the screams and cries of their massacred loved ones. There is absolutely no other recourse for the victims. No less than former Philippine Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla admitted just a few months ago that the door to domestic justice is permanently closed for victims of the Duterte extrajudicial killings.
Ay, mali yan. Kasi sinabi niya na ang ICC ay kailangan lang pag walang gobyerno at magulo.
Remulla declared, and we quote, "It is difficult to prove the case here and build up the case because those who need to speak are involved in the crime. There's nothing, not even a police report. You don't have a scene of the crime.
How
You don't
can
have
you prove it if you don't have any evidence? If you cannot prove it in the Philippines, how much more sa ICC Bulok?
ballistics, you don't have DNA. Remulla further declared, and I quote, everything that could be erased was erased so that the cases would not push through. That is why this has reached the ICC. Under the Philippine justice system, Your Honors, no criminal case can reach the courts unless they are initiated and filed by the Department of Justice or the Office of the Ombudsman. From Justice Secretary, Remulla has been appointed as Ombudsman. So the two gatekeepers of justice are successively occupied by a ranking official who has declared that there is absolutely no hope for domestic justice for the victims.
Si Remulla daw ang basehan. Ito, alam niyo mga basehan yung sinasabi nila dito. Dito nila pinagtitibay na yung yung pagiging court of last resort yung ICC. Pero sir, hindi naman ganyan yung ibig sabihin na court of last resort ay na naging court of last resort na sila. Tulad ng sinabi ni Senator Miriam Santiago, syempre dapat elitisin muna dito sa Pilipinas. I-file muna yung kaso dyan. Tapos pag hindi gumana o hindi nabigyan ng hustisya, doon magkakaroon ng kaso sa ICC. Doon, ganun yung court of last resort. Hindi yung meron doon, tapos magkiklaim na lang kayo na hindi pwedeng litisin. Sinabi niya na hindi pwedeng litisin kasi walang ebidensya. Hindi niya sinabing hindi pwedeng litisin dahil ayaw litisin. Ang sinabi ni Miriam Defensor Santiago, they refuse to litigate. Tito, how will they litigate if no one files cases? Ewan ko sa inyo.
If the charges are not confirmed in this case, one of the gravest concerns of the victims is that Mr. Duterte will return to the Philippines as a conquering hero. He will resume preaching his gospel of impunity. In fact, if Mr. Duterte could threaten to slap the judges of this, imagine the kind of terror-filled threats and the violent actions that can easily be used against the victims if the suspect walks free from this court. If the charges are not confirmed, it is a very serious concern of the victims that Mr. Duterte will be portrayed in history by his multitude of followers as the leader who vanquished the ICC and who cleansed his country of 30,000 rapists, murderers, and dangerous criminals, which were the scornful words he sweepingly used against all those who were killed in his murderous spree. Your Honors, Mr. Duterte has been in detention here in The Hague for almost a year now, but there has been no peace and rest for the victims. From the time their loved ones were killed and continuously up to this time, they live in constant fear for their lives. The arrest and detention of Mr. Duterte has not stopped impunity in the Philippines.
Bye-bye.